what's happening? It's Leroy Downs one more time with the Just Jazz Cafe, man. We get a chance to talk to some really, really extraordinary people here and around the world. And today it's just somebody who's taken the world by storm. We love the sound that we get from her. We love this vibration that we get from her. All right, I'll share with you who it is. You know, she is just one of the most incredible people on the scene right now. Please say hello to Miss Nubya Garcia. Hey, you.
Hi. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I had
Hi,
about
everyone.
4 minutes I could have said, but we need to get to it. So yeah, I understand it's a little cold there in London.
Yes, it's getting that way. It's getting cold, it's getting dark. As you can see, I'm like, how do I get more light? But yeah, no, it's all right, autumn, winter, I can cope.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter if it's cold, it doesn't matter if it's dark, because when we're listening to your music, there's warmth that comes through. There's these great vibrations. I like to know, as you were growing up in the community of London, how did the community inspire you and inspire your sound?
Um, I guess it was just being exposed to so many different types of things, being exposed to jazz quite young, being exposed, and that's like live music as well. I was thinking about it, like I've always gone to gigs with my parents because they're really into music. Being exposed to like reggae and dub from an early age, classical music too, and generally like the the mix of people and the diversity in London is kind of unparalleled. So you're just walking down the street, you're exposed to so many different sounds that are like next door to each other.
Mm.
What's blaring out of this corner shop is like not the same as what's in the restaurant next door, but it like as you walk past it for all of 2 seconds, like you get that kind of little injection. And I think that's kind of made me really receptive, I guess, to just absorbing and noticing, different cultures and what makes them them. I think that's really fascinating.
So where you grew up is pretty much a rich cultural environment there in London. I'm really interested in how the neighborhoods are because, out here in Los Angeles, we're so spread apart and so wide, but I know in New York, it's pound the pavement, walk the streets, and you get a more of a feel for all of these individual communities. Is London like Brooklyn?
Well, I mean, London's like every other city. It feels like there's lots of different areas, and I guess for me, London feels quite big. But when you put it next to somewhere like Los Angeles, it's like it's not that big at all. And so you have lots of areas like right next to each other, and that also provides quite an interesting mix. You've got rich and poor next to each other. You've got completely different cultures that are sharing the same sort of area, road, parks, schools. Once the kids mix, then the adults mix, and then you have this community that's made up of lots of different cultures. And so yeah, in London, like I guess we're blessed with being quite close together, and also some people don't see it that way, but I think it brings people together, like simply like it brings kids together, and if your kids are friends with these kids over here, like naturally people start talking and inviting each other to things, and whatever it may be.
Well, it's interesting because I can hear that togetherness in your sound. I mean, it's like a very relaxed drive on a Sunday with the top down kind of thing, but it brings people in, it brings people together. So for me, it kind of
That's
tells
good.
me a little bit about you in terms of your love of people and bringing people together for enjoyment. Is that part of what you write into your music?
Absolutely. I think um I was on tour for quite a while, and it made me realize how much I missed being with, my people, whether that's family or friends, community in general, the music community back home. Like I was having such an amazing time on tour,
Mm.
but it made me really value what it's like when you can walk in a room and everybody knows that you don't need to, you're just yourself. And so yeah, that was like quite heavily on my mind, I guess, when I came back from tour, and I was like, okay, I'm here, I get to go and see my friends and family and people. And so, a big part of that, people connect through music. And I wanted to build a story, build a kind of circular vibe, and bring as many people in as much as I could, and bring as many different people in as possible, that feel at home
Yeah.
listening to it. Like if they were in the room, if we had a gig, like I love to look out, and I love to see lots of different types of people from all over London or in other cities, like from all walks of life. I think, um, you know, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And I miss it. You know, we have a great jazz series
Absolutely.
here in Los Angeles called Just Jazz, where we're pulling people from, Chicago,
Yeah.
LA, New York, and while they're traveling, and just being able to have these different vibes together, create their energy in the room, with
Mm,
the music is an atom. It's like 360 degrees. It's like what you give, you get back from the audience, even though they're not saying anything. Their vibe is what's creating the music through you. So
exactly.
this pandemic thing is really kind of crazy, man. How has that affected
Yeah.
you? I know it's affected everybody in different ways, but just being such a person of togetherness and warmth
Mm.
and full of love without being able to do that. I'm wondering how that's affecting you.
Well, it's just crazy. I think when I stopped to think about what this year would have looked like if this pandemic hadn't hit, it was a year of like travel. It was a year of also being at home and doing stuff at home, and setting up projects here, and having a chance to like have my feet on the ground, alongside traveling and meeting new people, having new experiences. So this pandemic has genuinely taken that all away in some respects. But at the same time, I've gained peace in a way, because I, for the first time in a long time, have been at home. I've been able to, have a routine other than wake up, go to the airport, get to the gig, eat food, do the gig, go sleep. Now I'm able to actually focus on being there for my community, being there for myself,
Yeah.
um, practicing my instrument, listening to music. Like honestly, I haven't had as much time to actually listen to music rather than just have it on, but like really, really listen to music and like dig deep and dive into, people's discographies and stuff for years, since I was like a teenager and I was first getting into jazz. So yeah, alongside it's been pretty hard, to let go of what was meant to be. I'm just trying to focus on, and that's even, regardless of everything that's going on in the world, that's like for myself. But I think I'm just trying to stay positive as much as possible and have the hope that we can continue on this journey, in the future. It's not going to happen and no one's going to click their fingers and it's going to come back. But, I've, from this time, I've realized how much people need music. People need that connection. People need that time out of their day to go and have that transcendental experience, or to move and dance, or to just sit on the sidelines and absorb whatever it may be. You can interact with music in so many different ways that I just look forward to when we can do it in the way that we want to do it
Yeah.
again,
Yeah, well, I look
basically.
forward to that too. I'm hoping, it is my hope that, I know as musicians, we all kind of understand what it's like not to play and not to be around people, but I'm hoping that the people are feeling this too. I'm hoping that the
Yeah.
people are really missing this music and understanding what
Mm-hmm.
place it takes in our lives, as opposed to, oh yeah, I'll go out. Maybe they all took it for granted before. I hope that they don't take it for granted. I hope they come out and yeah, I'm on the radio. I play music on the radio. You can get those vibrations through your little speakers.
From
It's
home.
not the same.
Yeah.
You have to be in person in order to wear it, in order to for it to really affect you and get inside your soul. And I'm really excited to get back to that whenever we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a gig the other day, a real one, just before, like a few days before we've just entered into another lockdown in London now. But I did a gig at the Barbican in London, and it was just like super reduced capacity,
Mm.
like barely any people there, but and like so many people in one sense as well. It was like it was just such a crazy feeling to have that back, to feel the space underneath my feet, to like hear my whole band and myself like truly in your chest.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was incredible. And so it's given like me a taste, I guess, of what we had like every single night, and we didn't have it for ages. And then having this one opportunity, it just brings another level of joy and gratefulness, I guess, at being able to usually do what is our true like purpose and passion in life for now.
Well,
I think it's amazing, really. Like, yeah, I miss it. I miss it a lot, but I'm finding other ways to get that sort of
well,
sense
I'm
of
glad
purpose.
you're finding other ways. We definitely miss it, and I think it's a good reminder, really, for all human beings. Like what you used to do,
Yeah.
what you expect. Just look at your life and really appreciate that. And some people aren't feeling so great. This time of disconnection is really hurting. Um,
Hmm.
and speaking of that, it's a really historic time uh, here in our country with all this division that's going on and all of these um, attitudes that are, it's like 50% one way, 50% the other. Is really kind of showing its face that, man, I thought we were all together. It looks like we are, pretty divided.
Mm-mm.
But with all of this political drama and this racial tension that's happening here in America, I'm just kind of wondering, you know, how that's affecting you and all the musicians there in London. Do you look at it from afar? Do you say, hey man, do you take it in closer? Is it affecting how you compose or how you thinking about composing some of your future music?
It's definitely affecting me. I can't speak for everyone, but I know just from being around people, from marching, like from seeing the news, everything is just it just hits differently. We all over here, we know there's like so much shit going on here, but it hits differently when it's just everything is so polarized. And I have a lot of family in the States. So yeah, it feels very close, even though we're thousands and thousands of miles away, because it's just crazy to me. It's just so crazy. And to have it like rear its really, really ugly head,
Mm.
and to have people deny that, racism even exists, or that structural racism isn't a thing, it's like there's no other word for it. Like, it's just so hurtful. It's so hurtful. And then you have people over here who are just not even engaging in it. And then the those of us that are, like, it does affect us. And I think a lot of people will be processing through their this hurt and trauma through music and art and creativity, and making sense of what's going on in their own head and has been going on in their lives, and those of lives of people that you'll never meet, through the best way that we know how, which is, putting pen to paper in one sense of the word, or making music, however people make music, or whatever their art form is. I think it's such a necessary way to process so many different types of emotions and feelings,
Yeah,
and to describe what's going on in our time. In 20 years, just like 20 years ago, we have the music of what was going on in that time, the lyrics, the subject matter, the titles, whatever it may be. It's describing everything that they were thinking and feeling 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all throughout history. You've got all of the music plainly describing, like, this is the shit that we were going through and it hurts.
yeah,
And I'm assuming that that's exactly, what we'll do as well right now.
yeah. Well, you can't say 50 years. I could say 50 years, and but living on the planet, as a black human being here in Los Angeles, honestly, I got to tell you that, its ugly head only has reared for me, has only reared itself a little bit. I see it a few times, but mostly I see love. I guess that's because that's what I come from, love. So that's what I see.
Mm,
I only start seeing like, oh, okay, I heard something over here. Now I can see all the colors, but I don't want to say it's changed me, but now, I just don't take everybody for their natural thing. I'm like, I got to scan you real quick to see where you're coming from.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What I share,
Exactly. Exactly.
and I don't want to be a human being like that. I like to just be natural, and I play the music that way. On the radio, when I'm on the radio and I'm playing music, when I come across one of your tunes, it it sets a different mood. I mean, no matter where I go, it's like when I come to Nubya, it's like, oh, it kind of chills everybody. I use your music to change the direction of where I'm going or where I've been in terms of sound,
Thank you.
because it's a nice warm hugging pivot in terms of bringing it all back, letting people chill, and letting their minds kind of reset a little bit before
Mm,
we take off in different directions. It's great. It's fantastic.
that's great. No, that's good to hear. I want my music, and not all of it can, but most of it, but I want it to bring um comfort and connection and warmth, as well as make people think and make people feel something that they don't know quite how to put into words. Um, some of the tunes are different from each other, but I definitely strive to provide that kind of connect.
Yeah, no, it's super important. Generally in the past, um, being in the music business for so many years and getting all of these records, it's like you got America, and then you have, overseas. We don't really the music isn't so much promoted. Like, I don't get a lot of, now I am, but back in the day, I'm not getting a lot of artists that are coming from other countries with music. And if they are, there's no real promotion behind them. I mean, you seem to have like broken through. Like, it's like, oh, Abaya, everybody knows Abaya. She's in London. I'm wondering, like,
Thank
what
you.
it is. Yeah, well, look, I know your manager, Barbara Seeley. I know that
The best, the best.
he is the sweetest and the best. And man, look, I know she's full of love. So I know that you kind of have to be the same way. But
Absolutely.
the sound is enticing, and we love to play, the music here. I'm kind of
Thank
wondering,
you.
you did a gig not long ago. Do you get any kind of sense of when the next part of travel will be, when you get a chance to experience that again? And is it a little scary now getting out there to travel to a gig to another country?
I think I like to do things. I'm not like without thinking about them, but I'm excited to travel again. I haven't been in one place like this for years.
Mm,
So I'm ready to go.
yeah,
And some of my friends, yeah, 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 literally. And some of my friends have already done gigs in Europe. So Europe is not open anymore because there's many countries closing their borders again. But it was happening, you know, like a month ago, 2 months ago. I think I had some friends going to Italy to do gigs, Poland, like all of this stuff. So I know it's going to happen. If you're talking about overseas, like proper international to North America, I don't know. I know that I keep getting emails about the prices of visas going up. Um, but other than that, I, if I'm honest, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening for a little bit, just because
Mhm.
um, it's not very stable in terms of the pandemic. And so yeah, no, people aren't going to be able to put on shows, and when they start putting on shows again, it will be for those who are already there and those who can drive or something like across to another state. But I think for us, it might take a bit longer, just because of what will be needed and what will be involved and all of these regulations that will come in and stuff. I hope it's not too long.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but eventually, like, of course, we'll be back.
Yeah. Well, you know, I actually discovered you through Makaya's album, Makaya McCrae from Universal Beings.
Mm,
And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you know, how did you connect with a lot of these cats out of New York? I mean, did you meet them in school at some particular point or some jazz conference or camp, and then you guys stay in touch with each other and decide to record? I'm just wondering how some of these, you know,
Um.
relationships formed.
Oh, I can't even remember. So with Micaiah, he was in town. He was in town, and the way that he likes to record is going to lots of different cities and places, and just playing. You know, it's not like here's my tune, I've written it, I'm giving it to you. It's just like really getting into the zone and collaborating with everyone in the room and driving, all of you driving it together, which is amazing. And I love to work like that.
Yeah,
So with him, I feel like I got a call from his label manager, Scotty, who from yeah, I just and he was like, are you free? Come down to this session.
yeah,
My bass player, Dan Casimir, he's in my band, he was on it, and also Ashley. And so we just played for a few hours, and then he had organized Scotty and Mackay had organized it for him to do a gig in the same place. The studio was upstairs and the venue downstairs. That evening, and they were like, "Hey, we had such a great day. Do you want to just sit in on the gig?" And I was like, "Great, love to." And so that was it really. And then I kept bumping in. Oh, and then he invited me back to the States to do a live version of, we did one in New York and one in Chicago.
yeah,
Um, and it was just, the relationships just kind of like been building from that, like seeing each other. We were on the same gig circuit for what seemed like most of last year, which was great. So yeah, we got to hang a bit, and yeah, it was just kind of, I love seeing the same people on the road. Like, I don't know who else is on the same sort of circuit, but all the jazz festivals in Europe kind of, they plot right after each other, which is really great. And that's it really. Like, we just, I think he's wicked. I love playing with him. Really, really amazing musician and producer.
oh, no doubt. And I love the way that he has all of these people, you know, like from you said, Chicago and London and LA and New York. And it's like, hey man, we put
Mm,
all these different bands together, you know, these different sounds and brought it all together on one album, you know, through his vision.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's fantastic. And it allows me to discover some folks that, you know, maybe I hadn't seen before too, you know. But you, man, we're trying to figure out your source because you know it's you know it's intoxicating. You know a lot of the different rhythms, and I know you put some Jamaican rhythms in there, but it's this mantra of sound that uh, really allows you to take your time and get your message in there. I mean, and is there a particular message, or is it just the togetherness and
Mm, I think it's like lots of different messages. I mean, one of the tunes I wrote about the importance of um, listening and talking to your elders,
Mm,
community, to gather that wisdom and knowledge. And it seems like something that people say all the time, but no one actually ever does, because we're moving towards this kind of like wider culture of like people forgetting about older people
yeah,
and what they can actually bring to society, which is to stop people making the same stupid mistakes all the time. And, you know, bringing their whole, like, whatever age life, 70, 80, 90 years of experience and stories, and how, like, anyway, I just think that's so important, how you can just continue their memories and their lives through telling telling those stories. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think in terms of the overall message of what I was trying to kind of communicate, I guess, what is our power? Where do we begin? What drives us? What is our personal power? What is our collective power? Um, and kind of inviting that conversation within everyone through the music, and kind of realizing that we need to start thinking about that, you know, especially in a world where everything is just go, 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 go. Sometimes you're just going to wake up and you don't want to go anymore. And you're just like, I have nothing left to give. And it's like, you need to kind of rein it in and realize, like, you have to look after yourself and you have to look after each other.
yeah. Well, it's very clear that, you know, you've got your power, and I can tell that mixed in the elements of that power is just a lot of love, a lot of giving, and a lot of caring about people. And, you know, your sound is traveling all around the world. We're just very happy and proud to know you, and
Thank
whatever we
you.
can do, you know, to help keep it on the rise, we're going to do out here, and hopefully they feel like that around the world.
Thank you.
Just, you know, thank you for taking the power that you have within, and being a creator, and actually, you know, it's a gift you're giving this music to the planet, and, you know, it looks like it's being very well received. So um, blessings to you. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time right here on the Just Jazz Cafe. Ladies and gentlemen, this is nubya Garcia. It's one of the most fantastic sounds that you're going to hear on the scene today and in the future. So if you don't know, now you know, look for it. The album is called Source, and she's the main source right there, nubya Garcia. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Every time. You heard it once again right here on the Just Jazz Cafe. nubya Garcia, we got a chance to hang out with her, and spend some time together. You should too. The album is called Source. Make sure you pick it up, bring it into your life. Thank you, nubya.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely.